On today's show, it's a game day preview. The Ottawa Senators start their California trip in San Jose to take on the Sharks.
And with Artem Zub out indefinitely with a fractured foot, how should the Sens line up their D-core moving forward?
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome! You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can get a big return on FanDuel. New customers who place a $5 bet will get started with $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today is Wednesday, November 27th, and Pilsy, get the coffee fired up as it is a 10:30 Eastern time start tonight at the Shark Tank.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with the late games, Ross, because it's kind of nice, and you especially as an out-of-town scoreboard guy, it's kind of nice seeing how the rest of the night's slated, and then you're like, okay, with the win, the Sens can move here. With the loss, they're going to be down here. Overtime win, they're here. So it's kind of nice being the in the back half of the game, so you have an idea of how the night already turned out, and hopefully, is this the first 10:30 start for the Sens?
I know it's the last, that's for sure.
It's the last?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And I think it's the only. Yeah, because
the first
they played
and last. Okay.
Was the Utah game 10:30? That's the only one I can think of. No, that's Mountain Time. It would have been 9:30 start. So yeah, the only 10:30. So hey, soak it in. Let's just call it the main event because all but two NHL teams are playing tonight. There's 15 games on the docket and everyone starts at 10 p.m. or earlier. So the main event.
It's the title fight of the NHL.
Senators, Sharks, feel the excitement. No, I'm not bringing you back to the 2000 to 2013, let's say, era where the Sens and Sharks, you could even extend that. Heck, the Sharks made the Stanley Cup final in 2016 and the Senators made the Eastern Conference final in 2017. There's a lot of parallels between these two franchises. Always a playoff team, never a Stanley Cup champion. They've both had great players, great lines. There's actually been a lot of players who have played for both teams and very well high profile names at that. Danny Heatley, Martin Havlat, Cody Ceci, who will be in the lineup. Jonathan Cheechoo, Milan McCulloch, all have played for both teams. We're probably missing a few. Let us know in the comments who else.
Nick Spence will have that with his lineup. Yeah.
Nick Spence has got that every single day. What I've started to do at Twitter at Sens Central is look at the all-time Senators scoring leaders against each opponent. We had that 2016 moment that I added in video form where Zach Smith went full stop and shoot on the penalty shot. That was reviewed, but ultimately it ends up counting. Pilsy, how did we just spit some names and not mention Erik Karlsson in that?
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, him too.
So you can add Chris Tierney, you can add Dylan DeMello, you can add Tom Pricing, Matt Karkner, Andy
Noah
Sutton,
Gregor,
Freddie Claesson, Noah Gregor, who may be back into the lineup
Dylan
tonight.
Gambrell.
And our guy, Jamie Baker, TSN 1200 now in Ottawa. He's always been a great guy to us here. And for the old school folks, Pat Falloon as well. Mike Hoffman. Like the list goes on and on. The guys who have played for both teams.
Bodker.
Okay. We get it.
We're done.
But
Tommy Wingles? Sorry.
We will look at some Sens abroad in this game. Obviously, we mentioned Cody Ceci playing there for the San Jose Sharks. But this one is all about the Ottawa Senators and what they do because they have finally snapped the 5-game losing skid. They get the win in Calgary. Sure, it's a 1-goal win. Sure, they had 9 power plays, but a win is a win. And when you're heading out west, especially on a 6-hour flight, Billsy, the weight of the world feels off of your shoulders. They need to play free, relaxed, yet structured hockey to get a win tonight.
Yeah, and being able to go out to Cali with a win in your back pocket is such better vibes than going there with a loss. So,
Anthony Duclair.
Nice. I thought we were done. So I thought Tommy Wingles was the perfect place to stop it.
Okay, fine. We'll stop it right there. Okay, but with the Ottawa Senators tonight, my locked on player, and we'll look at the lines after, but my locked on player is a player who was drafted by San Jose, but never played there. Josh Norris. The Ottawa Senators are 5-1-1 when Josh Norris scores a goal this year, and 2 game-winning goals. You remember the LA Kings one, specifically the OT winner was his second goal that night. But let's take a look at how the Ottawa Senators line up for tonight's game. They just had their morning skate, and it will be the exact same top 6 against the San Jose Sharks. However, there may be a lineup change. Tim Stützle will center Brady Tkachuk and Adam Gaudette. Josh Norris between Claude Giroux and Drake Batherson. Shane Pinto in between Cole Reinhardt, coming off his first career NHL goal, along with Ridley Gregg, who's starting to chip in offensively here in the last few games. The fourth line, Zach Ostapchuk with maybe Noah Gregor and Michael Amadio. On defense, it's Jake Sanderson with Travis Hamonic, Thomas Chabot with Jacob Bernard-Docker, and Tyler Clevin with Nick Jensen. So that is unchanged from last game. Later on in the show, we'll look at if there's a way to optimize these D pairs, and it looks like Linus Ullmark will be in goal. Let's start with that. Your thoughts on going back to Linus. You're going back to Linus. The jersey is back in the case.
Yeah, I got to show support for my guy, Linus Ullmark. He is the guy. I know Sens fans are unsure how to feel about him, and that's fine. They're feeling like this is another goalie being brought in that's not living up to expectations. Give him some time. I think this is a perfect get-right game because the San Jose Sharks, like Ross, we look at the Sharks and we're like, oh, nice. This is an easy team to beat lower in the standings. The Sharks are tied with the Sens in points. Mind you, 3 more games. They've played 24. Ottawa's only played 21. But this is not a team you can take lightly. They've got a good mix of veterans and young guys, and their goaltending has been better than I think people realize. So you can't take this team lightly. So they're
scrappy, too. They're going to give you all effort all night.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Sens were a couple years ago, where you look at the roster and you're not impressed, but after every game, when the opponent's team is talking about how they won that game, they're like, you know what?
Firing the coach after they lose. Remember
Yeah.
that, where they had 3 coaches fired after like a week and a half?
Yeah, and we had that meme of the Grim Reaper at each door with all the coaches. That was fun.
Good times.
But it's one of those things where after the game, coaches of opponents' teams are like, yeah, we beat this team, but man, did they not make it easy on us. So I think the Sharks are kind of like that, and we're going to get to their lines a little later in the show. But I just think this is a perfect bounce back opportunity for Linus Ullmark. If he wins, then I give him the first start of the back-to-back up against LA. If he's looking shaky, then you can go back to Forsberg for that first back-to-back, and then Ullmark gets an opportunity to get right back in the saddle up against Anaheim. So I think a lot of Sens fans wanted to ride the hot hand and stick with Forsberg, but I do think this was the right approach, and I'm hoping number 35 can shut the door here.
Look, I agree that Anton Forsberg had a good game on Monday, but it's hilarious saying ride the hot hand when Anton Forsberg had a .889 save percentage on Monday against Calgary. One thing's for sure, Linus Ullmark, great vibes against the San Jose Sharks. He's 5-0 against San Jose in his career, and he's only allowed 9 goals in those 5 games.
Here we go.
That's a 1.82 goals against average and a .932 save percentage. So a great opportunity here for Linus Ullmark to bounce back. I already mentioned Josh Norris, my locked on player, so I'll just rattle off his stats here. 8 goals, 6 assists this season. He is -7. However, he's climbed out of a tough start in the faceoff dot. He's really starting to pick it up. He was 60% against Calgary. He has not had a game in the dot under 50% since the win against Toronto.
Wow.
Very, very good sign for a guy who had been a little under 50%. So I'm looking for Josh Norris to create more opportunity and possession. He actually hadn't taken a whole lot of faceoffs for a while. He's back, won 12 out of 20 in that game against Calgary. So I'm hoping that adds some possession for Ottawa. 1858 time on ice, and 5-1-1 when he scores this season. So I'm calling this a revenge game for Josh Norris. They didn't believe in you, buddy, to get into their lineup. They moved on from you early. So give them the troll job. I don't know if you saw that photo after he got drafted.
I was just going to bring that up. That's the only memory of him in a Sharks jersey anyone has.
Amazing. Pilsy, who's your locked on player to watch?
My locked on player is going to be Adam Gaudette. I mean, this guy, 9 goals, 1 assist. He's playing on the top line with Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk. He spent a bunch of that time on the second power play unit last night, so didn't play a lot of even strength time with them. But I think, and we'll get to it with the Sharks, but they actually have a pretty good penalty killing unit, top 10 in the league, 10th, mind you, but still top 10.
Top 10.
So I don't think the Senators should rely on their power play like they have in the past. So I'm hoping Adam Gaudette 5-on-5 is going to provide a spark to that line with Timmy. Like, Timmy brings the puck in, Brady screens in front of the net, Timmy gets it over to Adam Gaudette in space, and Adam Gaudette doesn't do a single thing, doesn't even think, just puck on the stick and release. And that's the formula I want to see. Brady screening, Timmy bringing it in, Adam Gaudette finding open ice and getting that pass and scoring. And I think he could be a guy that adds a spark to that top 6, and hopefully he can keep things going here. Ross, Adam Gaudette's career high in points in the NHL, funny enough, was back when he was with the Ottawa Senators in 2021-22, combined with the Blackhawks. In 8 games, he had 2 points. And then in 50 games with the Sens, he had 12. 14 points is his career high.
No, second. Come on. Don't cut him out.
What do you mean?
COVID year at 33.
In the NHL?
National League, baby.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I missed that. Good call. You got me on that one. So either way, Ross, we're
here to support each other. We're here to support each other, Pillsy.
Yeah, and my point still stands. It doesn't stand as much, but it still stands. He's projected to blow that out of the water, as he's projected with 40 points this year. I mean, I don't know if he's going to get 36 goals, but I do believe if he can keep this going, and if he finds himself in a top 6 role and remains on the power play, he's going to be able to rack up the points here and have a big year. So why not have a good start and solidify himself in that top 6 with a good game tonight?
I would love to see it. And he's 3 goals away from tying his career high in goals already. He's at 9, and he has the second most goals per 60 minutes of ice time in the National Hockey League when you make it 61 total minutes, so more than a full game time on ice. See you, Victor Olofsson. You've played 60 minutes. Bye-bye. The only guy with more goals per 60 minutes, his name is Alex Ovechkin. So, Sharks fans, hello. Welcome to the show. If you're thinking of a player comparable for Adam Gaudette, just look at the tape job. This guy shoots the puck like Danny Heatley, doesn't do anything else, but my goodness, this guy can rip the pill. Funny enough, he scored his even strength goal on Monday without the top line on the ice. It was right after a penalty, so it was still the second power play unit. Ridley Gregg fed him that beautiful seam pass, and he makes no mistake. How many of his goals is it a wide open net? Like, he just knows how to pull the trigger in the right spot. You think back to the Toronto game,
and he knows how to find that open ice, Ross. That's the key. Is people, especially with Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk, they're going to be keyed in on those 2 players. Adam Gaudette's going to slowly float, and he's going to find those spots.
Love it. One of the great stories in the National Hockey League this season is Adam Gaudette and 9 goals on the year. That's how the Ottawa Senators line up. On the other side, we'll take a look at the San Jose Sharks and some struggles that Ottawa has had over the past number of years in the Shark Tank. That's next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Built Rewards. This is a public service announcement for anyone who rents. If you haven't heard of Built, you're about to thank me. Earning points on rent is now a reality when you pay your rent through Built. You don't even have to check with your landlord to start earning points that you can use towards flights, hotel stays, fitness classes, and even your next rent payment. Let me break it down for you. There's no cost to joining Built, and as a member, you're earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points towards. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members have access to. So if you're not earning points on rent, I got a question for you. Why not? Start earning points on rent, and you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedon. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnhl. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. That's joinbuilt.com/lockedonnhl to start earning points on your rent payments today. Check it out, guys. Built Rewards.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Gametime. You want last-minute tickets? Obviously, you're looking for the lowest prices, so go get your tickets at Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks. They filter out the fluff and only give you incredible deals on great seats. Stop wasting time looking through thousands of tickets and go get your tickets at Gametime. Toggle the all-in pricing on. That way, there is no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and their lowest price guarantee. If you find the same seats in the same section and row for less, they will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, Pilsy, it is a 10:30 Eastern time start. The Ottawa Senators taking on the San Jose Sharks. I mentioned a busy night in the National Hockey League. Games that Sens fans will want to keep an eye on. The Buffalo Sabres hosting the Minnesota Wild. Tage Thompson returns for Buffalo. He's already got 11 goals in 16 games this season. Elsewhere, Sens fans will keep an eye on the Maple Leafs taking on the Florida Panthers. Panthers, by the way, they're on a bit of a losing skid. They're 12-9-1 so far this season. The Detroit Red Wings are hosting the Calgary Flames. Detroit right there with Ottawa, 9-10-2 record. The Boston Bruins, after dominating Vancouver but falling 1-0, 2-0 with the empty netter with 2 seconds left, they will take on the New York Islanders. Please no overtime there. And the Montreal Canadiens will be in Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets. Pilsy, the San Jose Sharks. This is a team and a building that the Senators have really struggled in over the last number of years.
Yeah, it's shocking because the years that have gone by, the San Jose Sharks have not been a great team, and the Ottawa Senators, for whatever reason, always struggled there. I mean, you hear players talk about in the past when San Jose was in their heyday, that arena being a tough barn to play in, but maybe with some spark in some young blood and some high draft picks, including 1-1 and Macklin Celebrini, that barn's going to get excited again. But it's crazy that the Ottawa Senators have not had more success there.
Last year was a 2-1 loss. Absolutely heartbreaking. Tim Stützle had his only power play goal of the season in that game. The year before, it was 5-1. The year before, it was 6-3. They did get an overtime win in the 2019-2020 season, but a 4-1 loss the year before that, a 5-0 loss the year before that. Heck, the last time the Ottawa Senators beat the San Jose Sharks in San Jose in regulation, Chris Kelly scored the game-winning goal for the Ottawa Senators with just a minute left. You know who else scored in that game? Erik Karlsson, Mark Stone, and Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Mike Condon was in goal for the Ottawa Senators. That's how far back you have to go. But enough looking back. Let's look forward at tonight's game. Here are your opponent, the San Jose Sharks. Boo. Macklin Celebrini, just an awesome player already. I'll get to him a little more in a moment. He is centering the top line in just his 13th National Hockey League game. He's got 10 points. William Eklund is at left wing and Fabian Zetterlund at right wing. The second line, Alex Wenberg with Luke Cunnin and Tyler Toffoli, former Ottawa 67. Nico Sturm is centering Barclay Gaudreau and Will Smith. No, not that one. Will Smith. And Ty Dellandrea is on the fourth line with Klim Kostin and Carl Grundstrom. On the back end, it's Jake Wallman with, yes, you guessed it, Cody Ceci. Then it's Mario Ferraro with Timothy Liljegren and Henry Thun with Jan Ruta. Mackenzie Blackwood starts in goal. Pilsy, your overall impression of this rebuilding Sharks roster?
I think the Sharks have done a good job of being able to get some veterans in here and at little cost to themselves. Like you look at Wenberg. Did they trade for him or sign him?
I'm not sure, honestly. I know that
I think he got dumped to them in one of the trades. I could be wrong, but Barclay Goodrow was a guy that just picked up off waivers. Tyler Toffoli signed a long-term free agent deal.
No, free agent for Wenberg, 2 years, $5 million per.
Yeah, okay. Then
he got dumped by Seattle.
I think there's a couple teams still paying Wenberg. I think he's on a couple buyouts even.
So jealous of that.
But Cody Ceci, they get easily from the Edmonton Oilers. I think they even got an extra pick on that. And then the crazy one is how they were able to snatch Jake Wallman away from the Detroit Red Wings, a team that could really use a good defenseman right now. And I'm pretty sure they got a pick as well for Wallman, who's having a career year with them. So this team has been able to try to bring in cheap veterans, or at least cheap costing as far as assets going out the other way, to try to help out these young kids. And that's why I think they're a scrappy team. These guys got a chip on their shoulder, but the young guys, they want to show that they're ready for the NHL too. Big omission from the San Jose Sharks is their leader in points, Mikael Granlund, who's at 24 points in 23 games. So that's someone that they're going to miss from this lineup.
And he was a capped up in the Erik Karlsson trade, Mikael Granlund, but he's fit in great there. And it's Columbus that's still paying Alexander Wenberg for two more seasons, this year and next. They bought him out a couple of years ago, just to finish the thought on that. Pilsy, your lookout player to watch tonight.
My lookout player is going to be Fabian Zetterlund. This is an interesting player. I believe he came over in the Timo Meier trade.
Correct. And he's honestly got a bit of Timo Meier in his game.
Yeah, and that's what the San Jose Sharks are hoping for. And he's off to a really good start this season. 24 games, 9 goals, 7 assists.
He's tied with Adam Gaudette in goals?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's off to a great start. And he has goals in back-to-back games. Adam Gaudette has 2 goals in the last 3 games. But what I want to key in on with Zetterlund here, Ross, is how about that +6 rating for a guy on a rebuilding team? And he plays top-line minutes. He's on the top power play. Like, he is a big part of them having success. Last year, he finished in 82 games, 24 goals, 20 assists, and was a -34. He was looking like a Winnipeg January day. And now he's in the plus temperature. So this guy clearly has turned things around, and it helps, Ross, when you get new teammates like your lookout player.
Oh my goodness. Macklin Celebrini. I mean, I could wax poetic for a long time. It was great being at the draft in Vegas and seeing Joe Thornton make the pick. Macklin Celebrini's been living with Jumbo Joe, and he has had an amazing start to his career. 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points in 12 games, had 2 points in his first career game, and was injured, missed a couple games. I should say a dozen. He's played half the amount of games as Zetterlund. However, what really impresses me is his 200-foot game and what he's doing in neutral ice. He had this beautiful chip play to start a rush in the last game we saw, and also he's ripping the pill. 40 shots on goal in 12 games, averaging almost 4 shots per game. He's got 2 game-winning goals as well. And as an 18, 19-year-old, he's averaging just under 20 minutes per game. Only Matvei Michkov has more points per game among rookies who have played at least 3. And Ottawa got a firsthand look at that talent when Philadelphia got that comeback win. Michkov had the game winner in overtime. So hopefully it's not a rookie syndrome the Sens are suffering from, and they're able to shut down Celebrini. I'm going head-to-head, Tim Stützle with Celebrini. I want that speed to be something that Celebrini has to focus on defensively, and hopefully you're able to grind them down a little bit from that. And it wouldn't hurt if Brady catches them in open ice a couple times either. But
or if Timmy does.
Timmy is so much more physical than people give that guy credit for. So, hey, he's going to be a player to watch for the next 20 years. If you're a hockey fan, you have to appreciate Celebrini. I know people have said he's like a poor man's Crosby. Nobody wants to make the Sidney Crosby comparison. It's even more egregious than every year there being a defensively responsible guy who puts up numbers being like, that's the next Patrice Bergeron. No, but like, you can see the similarities there in the draft process. We compared him to Jonathan Taves, another 200-foot player that was clutch, and you're seeing these clutch moments already from Macklin Celebrini. Just completely changes the dynamic of this team. Locked On Sharks, JD Young loves Macklin Celebrini and has tons of reason why. Could you imagine him and Timmy on the same team? However, that to say, we'll be watching Macklin Celebrini tonight. And for all you Sens fans, all you Cody Ceci fans, maybe you liked him back when he played for the Ottawa 67s. He's got 5 assists in 24 games, -6 after playing the last 3 years with the Edmonton Oilers. That's the matchup tonight. Sens and Sharks, 10:30 Eastern time start. And of course, we will have the postcast for you after tonight's game. Pilsy, Martian, and Jack will take care of that for you. I will be with my beautiful baby girl, but these boys will take you all through it, and we will be back tomorrow with another episode of Locked On Senators. However, not before the third segment, where we will look how to optimize the Sens decor. Yesterday, we told you Donovan Sabrango got the call-up. He was skating as the seventh defenseman. By the way, Nick Cousins, not at the morning skate. We didn't mention that when we did the lines. Not sure if it's injury related. You got to think it would be injury related or a maintenance day because, I mean, even if he's the extra forward being a healthy scratch, you still skate in the morning. Heck, you stay out there for a bag skate after.
And Ross, Noah Gregor is supposed to be a game time decision. So it's weird. It's weird.
So could we potentially be seeing 11-7 on the day where Guy Boucher was hired as a head coach in the KHL? We'll discuss that next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Mary J's. Mary J's is a locally owned cannabis dispensary in the Ottawa area. They got 4 stores in Ottawa. You can check them out at Riverside South, Orleans, Greeley, and Russell. Mary J's has the best and newest products in the market, and they're adding new stuff to the menu every single week to keep it fresh. They got competitive pricing. In fact, they're going to go ahead and price match any store in Ottawa. That means you're guaranteed to get the best price around when you shop at Mary J's. And they've got great customer service with friendly bud tenders who are always ready to help you out. One of the owners, Dashy, absolute beauty, diehard Sens fan. So go to one of the stores, say what up to Dashy, and pick his brain about the Sens and all the latest, greatest products that Mary J's has to offer. Check out the website and get yourself a loyalty card. Check it out today, guys. Mary J's Dispensary.
Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook, and at FanDuel, you can make every moment more. Go check out their app. It's so easy to use. I'm always on it every Sunday for football because they've got live play-by-play. You can see all the live odds, everything develop, and you can never miss a moment by making sure that you are checking out FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. I know Jack Richardson's already sent his bet into the group chat. He's going with the revenge parlay. Jack Richardson, he's going with Sens minus 1.5. He's going with Josh Norris to score and Tim Stützle over 1.5 points in tonight's game. So get into the action, make every moment more. That parlay with the Sens puck line is going to be plus 870. So never miss a moment, make every moment more, and visit FanDuel.com to join today. It's official sports betting partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, Billsy. So the Ottawa Senators, and this seems like, yeah, it's league-wide, but especially for the Ottawa Senators, they're being very coy with their injury updates. Noah Gregor, game time decision tonight. He's missed the last number of games. We still don't know what the injury is. We talked about Nick Cousins. Not sure what's going on there, but we do know that Artem Zub is out with a fractured foot after blocking a shot in Saturday's game against the Vancouver Canucks. So Donovan Sabrango is up. Jacob Bernard-Docker is in the lineup, and Nick Jensen has been moved down. However, it's certainly not a demotion, but been moved to play with Tyler Kleven. So right now, you've got Jake Sanderson with Travis Hamonic. You've got Thomas Chabot with Jacob Bernard-Docker, and you've got Kleven with Jensen. How would you optimize this decor? Do you like it how it is, or would you switch it up?
I don't like it, Ross. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I can see the spin zone, and you can play devil's advocate if you want, Ross. But for me, Jensen is kind of like the Zub of the past. Remember when we would say, hey, you need to get a defenseman going, or if you need to stabilize a deep pair, put Artem Zub there, and that's going to do that. Unfortunately, Zub hasn't been that guy, and he's out of the lineup. Jake Sanderson has not been the Jake Sanderson we know, even when Artem Zub was back in the lineup.
He played great in the last game, though, so hopefully that can keep rolling. Over 30 minutes, had an assist. I thought Jake Sanderson had a good rebound game Monday.
So did I. 9 power plays will help, though.
You know what he played in the third period, by the way? He played 11 minutes and 30 seconds out of the last 20 minutes of that game.
Yeah, we need him to get back to that. And I think the more he plays, the more comfortable he is. So the fact that you put, not first off, your new top pair, or at least most consistent pair, has been Shabbat Jensen. So they break that up. The only pair that's really, really working, they break that up. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes you got to do that. But then to move the best defenseman on this team, Nick Jensen, who's been performing the best, down and have him playing less minutes and have Jake Sanderson still trying to figure things out. And then you put Travis Hamonic, arguably the least best defenseman on this lineup, playing up with Jake Sanderson, to me is just crazy. Like, I know you're moving Jensen down to Cleven to try to support him and make things a little easier on a young defenseman, and that's fine. But I just think, let's try Jake Sanderson with Nick Jensen and have a true top pair. I like Shabbat and JBD. Ever since JBD was drafted, I've pegged him as Shabbat's partner in the future, and give JBD this opportunity. It's a massive opportunity for JBD to be in the top 4, to play beside Thomas Shabbat, and then cut your losses and have Hamonic play with Cleven and play them 13 minutes a night and hope that they can figure things out. It's just crazy to me that Nick Jensen, you finally found a partner for Shabbat. He's having the best season he could be having, really, as far as Sens fans are concerned. And you put him on the third pair. Nuts.
I understand that for sure. And it's hard to really track Monday's game because of all the special teams, 9 power plays. So in that game, Cleven and Jensen actually played the most at 5-on-5 out of any D pair together. But it was so discombobulated. They played 11 minutes and 26 seconds together. Sanderson Hamonic was at 11-13. Also, Thomas Shabbat missed a bunch of the second period. So the lines were in a blender. Tonight, we will really see what the plan is there. And if you're watching on YouTube, I pulled up Money Puck, Sens D pairs this season, minimum 10 minutes, because I wanted Shabbat JBD to be in there. Now, it's such a small sample size. They played 11 minutes together, but in the past, it has looked good. So I don't mind that. I agree with you. Having Hamonic at the bottom pair is good. And funny enough, Jensen and Cleven got torched, but minus 10 shot differential in those 11 minutes and 26 seconds against Calgary at 5-on-5. Look, within the game, it's going to change. We see when they're down a goal, Sanderson and Shabbat play together. They're at 23 minutes together. That's been the Sens' most efficient pair in terms of expected goals percentage, which means the most opportunities when your team is on the ice. I just look, and you got to go way down to Sanderson Hamonic, who have played the most other than Shabbat and Jensen together, and they're under 50%. Only 3 pairs are under 50%. 2 of them feature Hamonic, 2 of them feature Cleven. See what I'm saying there? Common denominator. So I think I'm trying to see it from the coaching staff's point of view. They're trying to mitigate what the bottom is. And how often is we talked about that, Pillsy, where the Ottawa Senators A game is great, but their B game is so bad. So I'm assuming this is their way of saying, hey, if we take a little bit off the top end and up the bottom end, that's the only way where I can rationalize this, but it would not be my decision either.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not willing to try to prop up 15 minutes of ice time a game to anchor down
45, math guy.
Yeah, sure. But I was more going to get into the top pair, so like 24 to 26. But yes, that point remains. So I don't know. Who knows how long this will be like this? But you got to get Sanderson going, and it's crazy to me to have Jensen on a third pair. Crazy.
I agree with that. I think it doesn't work. And this is real goals for, real against. Sanderson Hamonic, 1 goal for, 7 against. But look, Sanderson Zub, 1 goal for, 7 against in terms of the goals percentage, real goals. For all you expected goals haters, here's real goals. And look, Cleven Jensen, 2 goals for, none against in their 38 minutes. So despite having the lowest expected goals, when they're together, it's 2-0 Ottawa.
But that's a third D pair going up against other teams' bottom 6.
Correct.
I don't know. Because then you can get into the conversation where you're like, well, if we spread the wealth on D, we can roll 3 D pairs and keep people fresh and stuff. But you've got guys in Sanderson and Shabbat that not only thrive on playing more minutes, they prefer it. So give him the minutes and give Clevin a little insulation and have him playing a little bit less. I don't know. For me, the way they've got it set up right now is not sustainable long term.
No, it's not.
And
you know what
Zub's
else?
likely going to be out. Brandon Piller, not a doctor, but a fractured foot, you're looking at weeks, if not months.
Well, Claire Hanna, not a doctor, our friend of the show. However, she said she did speak with a doctor, and I should have asked the doctor because I was just at the hospital for the last 5 days. It's about 8 to 12 weeks. Like, we're looking at like at least 2 months, likely.
Ross, I think the doctor would have looked at you a little funny having a newborn, and first question is, how long does a fractured foot take you out for? They're like, her feet are fine. What are you talking about?
No, I'm asking about Zub, okay? Okay, I'm asking about Zub, okay? Come on. No, but with that, look, one thing I am excited to see is Shabbat and JBD for more time. That to me is the one solace in this, is that look for JBD. Everyone wanted free JBD. Well, with Thomas Shabbat, I mean, you're not going to get much more opportunity than that to make an impact on a game.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. Let us know in the comments, how would you organize the decor? And look, the Sens only have 3 goals from their defensemen this year. Like, you want to compare that. Jake Wallman has 2 goals himself, and he's got the most about any most points by a Sharks defenseman. Timothy Liljegren has 2 goals. Jack Thompson has 2 goals. The Sharks have more goals from their back end by double what the Ottawa Senators have. They need more offense from the back end at 5-on-5 or on the power play, but their power play is fine, although it is much better at home than on the road. So we're looking for that tonight. I would love nothing more in this game, Pilsy, than to see Tim Stützle score a power play goal.
2. Give me 2.
Because he's still at 1 this year. And look, he was at 1 all of last year. It's too early to panic about that, but he's got 1 power play goal so far this season. He's also got 8 power play assists, so we're not too worried about his production on the power play. But whether it's Tim Stützle getting a goal or at least a point or 2 on the power play tonight, I think that, look, they're 2 for 9, but they had that one right after it expired. I think that special teams is where you can really pull away in tonight's game. I know they've got a good PK.
Yeah, I don't know, Ross.
That's how you can do it. The 5-on-5, you got to win that too. But I think that you're looking, and whether it's Jake Sanderson, I'm kind of doing 2 topics in one here. I get it. Let's stick with the decor. Power play is just something that it needs to be better on the road. I'm going to get the splits for you here at the end of today's show, but I just want a little more offense from the back end. 3 goals is not enough for defensemen for this team.
Yeah, I agree. But I want to see a switch here, Ross. So I'm going to go against you on the key to victory. I want this team to be dominant 5-on-5, and that to be the reason why they win this game. Because the Sharks are sitting at, got it pulled up here, 82.3% on the penalty kill. I want the Sens. This is a team you should be able to dominate 5-on-5, and that's what I want to see.
Okay, nice. And I'm looking at home for the San Jose Sharks. Their PK at home is 3rd in the National Hockey League.
Oh.
Dude, you know what the Sens power play is at home?
Also 3rd?
No, number 1. They have the best. But you want to hear something wild? I'm going to tweet this out too. This is wild. The Sens power play at home is 1st in the National Hockey League, 36.7%. 2nd, 3rd is Winnipeg, Vegas, then New Jersey, Carolina, Colorado.
Wow. Okay.
You know where they rank on the road in power play percentage, Pilsy?
I'm going to say 22nd.
30th.
Oh.
30th on the road. Their power play goes from best to basically worst. They're 11.5% on the power play, tied with Buffalo for 29th if you want to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But that needs to improve dramatically. And you look at as well for the Sens penalty kill, 81% at home. And then on the road, that falls to 73%. So that's what's killing them on the road. They don't have a good road record this year, and you can point to special teams. So that's why I'm focusing on that tonight. And we have to mention as well, score first. 7-1 when the Sens score first. 2-10-1 when they allow the first goal, and that's 0-5-0 when they allowed the first goal on the road.
Ross, I don't even believe the Sens can score first. Like, for me, like, this drop, the puck's about to drop, anthems are done, scoreboard, just put one up for the opponent and drop the puck, and then we'll just get that out of the way. Because when's the last time they scored first?
Long time ago.
I don't know.
Far away.
Philly.
Yeah, it would have been because they hadn't had a lead since Philly. So
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, come on.
They hadn't had a lead since Philly. But they played with the lead a bunch against Calgary ever since they went up 2-1. They were playing with the lead for a lot of that game. So hopefully that can continue. The Sharks, when allowing the first goal, are 2-9-3. And they're 5-3-2 when they score first. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Ottawa Senators, San Jose Sharks looking for 2 wins in a row. And the way the Eastern Conference is going, Pilsy, like you're right in the mix. Boston loses in regulation last night. Montreal gets a point and a loss. The best move from a top 10 pick for the Habs this year was Mikhail Sergachev scoring the OT winner at the Bell Center last night. Like, do you know Juraj Slafkovsky has 1 goal this year?
Yeah.
In 18 games? 1 goal. All situations.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Pilsy, final prediction for tonight's game.
Ooh, final prediction.
We don't do predictions on this show, but I'm feeling a little spicy today.
Love it. Give me a 4-2 Ottawa Senators win. Give it to me.
Same score as the last regulation win they got in San Jose.
Okay, I like it. And that Jack's got the puck line, right? In his
Jack's
parlay.
got the puck line.
Okay, that gets Jack's puck line.
All right. Enjoy the game tonight. We will be back for the postcast after the game. We'll break it all down tomorrow on the show. Really looking forward to a great week here at Locked On Senators as our episode number creeps up to the all-time games played leaders for the Ottawa Senators. We are 6 shows away from tying Daniel Alfredsson, 7 away from Chris Phillips. But we're really, that's the postcast that we got to be our where do we rank in Sens history, because we got Summers, we got everything to go. But we are your team every day. We appreciate everybody for making us your first listen, riding with us. We had our great Sens Central Citizen yesterday in Jake, so go check that out if you haven't already. And we'll be back tomorrow with more. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.